Hey everybody, it's Sam with Wrestling Overtime, and I want to share my Raves and Rants review of the WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view that was held on May 10th, 2020. Now, as you guys know, this is the second pay-per-view that WWE has had to hold without fans, and I think that causes some issues, and a lot of wrestlers rely on the crowd giving them some kind of reaction to know what move they need to do next or where to actually take the action. And so it has been a real learning curve for everyone in the WWE to have these shows with no live audience and getting really no feedback or anything like that. However, by being without fans, it allows WWE to take certain segments to make sure they get the right shots and certain tricks are not exposed. So in this Money in the Bank ladder match, they decided to change some things up. Like, they started filming at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut, and they changed the men and the women are going to all participate together, trying to make it to the top of headquarters, then climb a ladder to retrieve the briefcases. Now, all other matches took place at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. However, the Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt match was also taped, and we'll get to why here in a little bit. But the first match started actually during the kickoff show. Now, I will go ahead and say I was on my phone a lot during the kickoff show. I have told you before, during WrestleMania season, the kickoff shows just aren't that great. They replay a lot of the video packages they have already shown on Raw or SmackDown. If they would show new material, I actually probably would watch the kickoff shows. But I'm mostly on my phone, tweeting out things and just kind of looking up occasionally, making sure they haven't started the kickoff match. Like I said, the kickoff match was Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. Now, this turned out to be a good match for both of them, but especially Jeff. Cesaro, we all know, is an excellent wrestler, and he's extremely safe, which is good for the risky daredevil Jeff Hardy. I did find it really funny that Jeff is getting ready to start a program with Sheamus, so they made him take on Sheamus's old tag team partner from the bar in Cesaro. Now, both of them worked pretty slow, probably due to Jeff's conditioning just coming back. I'm glad that I got to see all of Jeff Hardy's old favorites, especially his finisher, the Swanton Bomb that he did in order to win this match. Now, after the kickoff show and after the long opening, the first match of the kickoff show was for the SmackDown Tag Team titles between the New Day, the Forgotten Sons, Lucha House Party, and The Miz and John Morrison. Now, I'm sorry, I can't stand 8 men in a match, especially when we just saw the same 8 men in a tag team match on Friday night on SmackDown. It was ridiculous. It was boring, and I couldn't understand why Lucha House Party was even in this match. How did they qualify to be in this? Did Vince just want 4 tag teams in this? He didn't want just one heel tag team or one babyface tag team, so he decided to even the numbers up? And why were The Miz and Morrison not granted a rematch alone to try to get their titles back? Why were the Forgotten Sons, who just got brought up from NXT, even in this match either? Now, the New Day won to retain, but I'm really not sure this leads to their next program. Because the next program is the one that leads up to SummerSlam. Who are they going to face? I mean, I think that's the big question, is who is left in their tag team division for them to face, for them to have a good match with? I'm going to make the assumption it's going to be the Forgotten Sons. But should it be? Now, the next match I have been griping about since it was announced. It was R-Truth versus MVP. Well, not MVP, because Bobby Lashley actually came out and interrupted them. He told MVP just to take the night off. Why? Does Bobby Lashley have some issue with R-Truth that no one knows about? Does MVP need to rest? Why did Bobby Lashley come out and take MVP's place? He's not in MVP's stable. Is he? Is that where we're going with this? Well, it took about a minute for Lashley to spear R-Truth for the win, and this was absolutely awful. There was no storyline before, and there was no storyline after. This was just a time filler, and it was ridiculous. Then we got to the SmackDown Women's Championship of Bayley against Tamina. Now, of course, Sasha Banks escorted Bayley to the ring, and I can't help it. I absolutely loved Bayley actually being a heel during this. She came out trash talking and actually slapped Tamina. She must have thought that little Sasha Banks could take care of Tamina if she got her too mad. I don't know. I'm thinking that Sasha wasn't going to take care of Tamina. But, oh well. Bayley actually shocked me by working a body part injury. She worked Tamina's knees. Now, of course, she had to overdo her heel act by going over and getting Corey Graves' water and throwing it at Tamina in her face. Now, after that, Tamina got upset, and we saw a little bit of offense by her until Sasha got involved, and she distracted her so that Bayley could roll her into a crucifix pin. Now, I'm just going to be real honest with you. I think Tamina came out of this looking powerful. I think she had a better match than she usually does. And I know that most wrestling fans, especially those on the internet, were looking for Sasha to turn on Bayley. But it's just not the time. They don't have a lot of women in the division that can actually do something in the division. So they've got to keep Bayley and Sasha free from one another to take on other women and use them to build up the division. Now, next up, we got the Universal title with Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt. Not The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And like I said earlier, this one was taped. Actually, during this match, at one point, after Bray came down to the ring and the match actually got going, we saw the different puppets show up around the ring to talk to Braun, like Ramblin' Rabbit. So it was taped because there were puppeteers behind and they didn't want to get them in different shots. So that's why they taped it, and they could edit the puppeteers actually out. So he took on Bray Wyatt. I guess this was the easy way out of the corner that WWE had painted themselves into. I mean, if Braun would have lost, then how does WWE rehab his gimmick? They've almost pushed Braun several times in the last couple years, but they never actually pulled the trigger. And they've been able to rehab his image by turning him babyface or turning him heel or putting him with Alexa Bliss. But this time, they actually gave him the championship. So if he loses it after 1 month, how do you rehab that gimmick? Same thing with The Fiend. If The Fiend would have lost again, it would have killed the mystery of that character. I mean, think about it. The Fiend lost to Goldberg. And then at WrestleMania 36, had a match, well, not really a match, had a get-together with John Cena at the Firefly Funhouse, where he kind of played some mind games with him. And then if he would have lost to Braun Strowman, that would have been the third time that The Fiend would have lost and looked bad. So they chose the easy way out. They chose to have Bray Wyatt take the loss. And that's not bad. But where do you go after this? I mean, it was a tape match, and I really expected a little more. I did love the look on Bray's face when Braun kicked out of Sister Abigail. And then, I didn't know really how I felt when Braun put on his old black sheep's mask and acted like he might go home. Now, I have to admit that was a nice swerve, especially after the puppets begged him to come home. But, him using the Pyre Slam as his finisher in this match was a real letdown. I almost wish he would have used Sister Abigail, or brought out even a new finisher. Just don't know where they go from here. Then we got to the best match of the night. Bar none. This was the best match of the night. The WWE Championship title match between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. I believe had this been in front of a crowd, this would have just been unbelievable. The crowd would have went wild. It was very good. They have really good chemistry together, and I look forward to seeing them work together again soon. I absolutely loved McIntyre showing his power until Seth Rollins went after his knee and then continued with his knee and basically showed the blueprint on how someone in the future may be able to beat Drew McIntyre by taking away his power by kicking his legs. However, Seth Rollins couldn't withstand, the Claymore kick. So McIntyre got the win. Then McIntyre walked over and shook Rollins' hand. Now, I was shocked that Rollins agreed to shake his hand because Rollins is a heel. And when someone does this, it usually signifies that your program is over and you guys aren't going to be meeting again. So, not sure where Drew McIntyre goes after this. But the more important question is, where does Rollins go with the Messiah character after losing so much? He lost the tag team titles, then he lost to Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 36, and now he's lost to Drew. Can you really be the Monday Night Messiah if you're losing all the time? Should Rollins take 40 days and 40 nights off to meditate and think and get himself back and get his mind right again? Well, probably not. Knowing WWE Creative, they can't afford to lose Seth that long, so they will not give him any time off. Now let's get to the Money in the Bank ladder matches, since that's what this pay-per-view is called. Like I said earlier, they were held together at the same time. So I felt like it was really hectic. I'm going to be honest with you. I enjoyed the cinematic approach and all of the inside jokes with the different superstars kind of showing up. I loved seeing Stephanie McMahon and Brother Love. However, the ridiculousness it's not my cup of tea. It's really not. I'm not stopping in the Super Bowl during the last 2 minutes of a game so that I can win a food fight or go look for somebody. Like AJ went looking for Rey Mysterio. Why, AJ? Why were you not finding the stairs and going up to the top of the building? A lot of this it didn't make sense to me. The goal is to go to the top of the building and get the briefcase as fast as you can. You get your revenge or you break things later. So to start this match, they had the men in the weight room and they had the women in the lobby. So how did they meet up so quickly? I mean, think about it. They fought in the lobby. Asuka took them out. The men fought in the weight room, throwing some weights at each other. And then, boom, it's like they all found each other. Why, in this match, would you even go into a conference room or go into an office? Why wouldn't you hit someone in the hallway, throw them in the office or the conference room, and then go as fast as you can and run as fast as you can to get to the top? So let me understand. The women and the men kept meeting up the whole match on different floors or in different areas. But when the women got to the top, then somehow the men ended up like 5 to 7 minutes behind, just to make it easy and allow the women to be able to do their thing without the men coming in. Is that what that was? Luckily, Asuka won, and not someone like Dana Brooke, because that really would have threw this craziness into it. But then the men get up there. You're telling me they are so tired that they can barely climb a ladder for the contract that they want? Supposedly, these are WWE superstars that lift weights and run every day. And they've known they're going to be in this match for weeks. Are you really telling me they haven't trained? That they can't get up a 10-foot ladder quick to get the contract that they want and then rest, that they're going to rest as they're climbing the ladder? That's ridiculous. Baron Corbin decided to throw 2 men off the roof instead of worrying about finding a ladder and climbing a ladder. And then the unbelievable happened. AJ climbed up the ladder, got the briefcase off the hook, but fumbled it so Otis can catch it. That's what WWE Creative came up with? Gross, pelvis humping, belly shaking, tongue wagging, tub of lard Otis. Give me a break. What are you going to do with Otis? Number one, he is a tag team wrestler. Number two, is that who you want to be the face of WWE? Give me a break. Now, this would have been awesome as a Raw or SmackDown main event with all the comedy in it. But this is actually a pay-per-view. Remember, people paid $9.99 for this. Was it worth $9.99 to you? Because it wasn't to me. Not for Otis to be winning the Money in the Bank, one of the biggest prizes of the whole entire year. No way. Now, whether you agree with me or you disagree with me, you guys write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com or hit me up on Twitter or on our Facebook page at Wrestling Overtime. I am definitely interested on seeing where they go now on Raw tonight. What decisions do they make on Monday Night Raw? Now, you guys need to make sure that you subscribe to get the latest episodes as soon as they're released. Literally, when I press the upload button on most podcatchers, you get it about 5 minutes later. So you get them as soon as they're released. I want to take the time to thank you guys for listening and for giving me comments back and letting me know what you guys think. I will talk to you guys soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to be working overtime on all this wrestling for you.